Bueno, ahorita no se encuentra. ¿Quién habla? Ah, es la amiguita, es la amiguita. No, mija, pues ahorita no está malcriada. Ahorita está trabajando en ese... ¿Cómo se llama el lugar donde está trabajando la niña? El Peter o el de Chucky, no sé cuál es. ¿No sabes? No está. Bueno, ahí está. Pues tú sabes dónde está, mija. Ahí está, al lado del HIV. Ujú. Sí, me dijo que le ibas a preguntar dónde estabas, porque iban a salir después. Ay, bueno, siempre están saliendo después de trabajar y por eso ese es su tercer trabajo del mes. Ujú. No se puede quedar con ningún trabajo la malcriada, pero bueno. Bueno, pues diviértanse, dense a respetar, no anden ahí de pirujillas, cuídense, no hagan nada malo y que Dios las bendiga. Ok, sí, bye, mijita.
Malcriada!
Ah! Oh, hey, boss, what's up?
The claw machine is broken. Some toxic red dye 40 leaked into it and mutated the prices. Now they're forming sentences, scaring the kids all day. Could you fix it?
I'll see what I can do. I'll head over to the arcade. But why are the soda syrups so close to the arcade machines? Isn't that a fire hazard?
Corporate figured out a way for the arcade games to generate the entire store's energy for free. Claw game fuels our soda fountain. We're saving a fortune.
So, can I get a raise?
No. Now go.
Man. Okay, what's up with the claw machine? Oh, what the? Oh no. The prizes have become little pygmy mutants. How can this even happen? Where did you guys learn this behavior?
This is how all the adult ladies tell their little girls to behave.
Yeah, we want to be just like them, like real girls.
So, you're behaving how señoras want their daughters to behave. Why do you choose to listen to them?
We don't know. They're mostly the ones that bring their kids here. And we want to be real girls, not just dolls and prizes.
And why do y'all want to be girls so badly?
Well, the little boys that stop by our machine never want us. They make faces and say that we're only girl toys because we have pink and glitter on our design. Girls never do that.
We want to get chosen to see the world.
We can only do that if we get picked.
I see. Well, if you keep acting like that and begging people to choose you, you will get chosen.
Yay!
But you won't see the world.
What?
You'll be chosen by a little girl and taken home. Yeah, she'll be cute and all, but your identity will be tied to her. Eventually she'll grow up and you'll be stuck in that room forever. Then maybe donated or sold in a garage sale over and over and over again until you end up in a landfill somewhere, torn, frayed, and forgotten. That's the job of a toy, an object in this world. That's the life of being chosen. Sorry to break it to you this way. Oh shit.
Fucking feminist.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
What?
Well, technically, you're not prizes anymore. You can perceive, you can move, you can talk, form opinions. You are completely sentient. I mean, what's stopping you from knocking over the machine and escaping? Then you can go wherever you want, instead of just waiting to be chosen. a keychain or a shot glass. Preferably a shot glass, okay? Bye. I'm totally getting fired. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Malcriada Thoughts. Here, hosted by yours truly, Saudra Knives. Hello. And today, as you could tell, we will be talking about pick-me's, the phenomenon of pick-me's. Why are they here? How are they formed? How do pick-me's look when they're young versus how do pick-me's look when they're old? Do pick-me's even know they're being pick-me's? Do they know the damage that they're causing? Do they know that it's not helping us just be in competition with other women and femmes? These are the questions that we're going to be talking about this episode. And yeah, so let's get into it. All right, before I even start talking about pick-me behavior and instances that I've had with pick-me's I've met, I want to talk about where they stem from. Being a pick-me is a byproduct of survival under a patriarchal society. In a patriarchal society, what is worshipped? Who is considered human? Who is considered the subject and not the object? Men. Those who identify as male and see themselves as men in today's world. And if you don't understand where I'm coming from through this, just take a look around. Who is the head of the household? Normally, it's the father. Who is the god that we worship? Again, a male god, a male deity. The Father. There's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And where let me not even start, because that's another conversation which we will get into. But yeah, there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There's no space for women or femininity. We're not even mentioned. And then you look towards government. Who have been the heads of government throughout this entire history of the United States? It's all been men. And yeah, and we have one woman vice president. Woohoo! Oh my god, thank you. Ya cuando se va a acabar el mundo. Oh my god, thank you so much. But yeah, it's just not hard to spot, and this has been the reality that women and femmes have been living in all our lives. A patriarchal world, a patriarchal society is the breeding grounds for misogyny, because without the hatred of women and the oppression of women, men would not be in high powerful positions. They would not be leading. They would not be given the authority if women had the right to speak. So what happened? They took that away through Abrahamic religions, through policy, through colonialism. The matriarch fell, and we no longer appreciate the femme in the same way that our ancestors did. We can't really talk about Marianismo before first covering machismo, which machismo is just toxic masculinity and in men and the culture around that, and rape culture in Spanish-speaking countries, Spanish-speaking places. This is what we refer to. Misogyny, this is what we call misogyny. Machismo is misogynia. And machismo is what most kids and young boys are taught to aspire to. They are taught to aspire to big, strong heads of households that provide for everyone in the family, and they're always working, and they have to be so grateful that their parent does that their father is doing that, because then they are like, because you don't want to be a deadbeat. If not, then you're not a man. Da, da, da. And there's lots of not to say that there's any deadbeats in our community. There's plenty of deadbeats, but I feel like Okay, it's funny because I feel like in Latino communities, like our fathers, like they have like secret families and all this shit, but they're like, but I provided. It's like, dude, yes, you provided for two families. Ah, que chingon. But were you a good father emotionally? Were you ever there for your children emotionally? And the answer is no. And why? Because of machismo. And it's just so crazy that like men feel the right to do that. They feel the right. They're like, oh, I can just go make a new family, and if I can provide for them, if I can support them and have the money to, si me parto la madre trabajando, like if I just keep working as hard as I can and keep providing for my families, like they can't tell me shit because I feed them, and the reason that they have houses and roofs over their heads is because I work. Like it's such an ugly train of thought. Not to say that different types of families are valid, they completely are. Like, for example, if you have a child with someone and then that person is disrespecting you in your relationship, and then you get another, you in the future, you get with someone else and that person respects you and your child, I don't see any problem in that. That makes perfect sense to me. But if, let's be real, there's lots of situations, particularly where men are out here running around and making secret families. They are not talking to their spouses or their partners like, hey, I want to be open. Hey, like they're not getting the consent to do that. And that's the biggest thing that people don't understand, like, because we don't understand the concept of consent because it's not taught to us in a patriarchal world. Consent is non-existent. It's non-existent because in a fascist world, consent is non-existent. Like, we're always being coerced into doing something we don't want to do because of the circumstances of this world. Because okay, sorry, let me not go too far into that, but yes. And that's what a lot of Latino men, and not just Latino men, but it's just because I can only speak for my community and my experience, and that's Latino men. And yeah, and it's so sad because the women who are fed this fantasy of, you're a little damsel in distress, you're a girl, so girls behave like this, you're not meant to be strong, you're meant to be saved, you're meant to be carried, you're meant to be taught, you're meant to follow, you're meant to submit. These women listen and learn and adapt these ways of thinking, all just to be let down because the boys aren't playing their role. Like, they can't even live up to the fantasy that they made up in their heads about themselves, which is kind of crazy. And that's where we talk about Marianismo. So, like I said before, we're going to come back to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Virgin Mary. Women, specifically lots of Latina women, are taught to aspire to model the behaviors of La Virgen de Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary. And it's crazy because when you actually read the Bible and learn all the specifics, you learn that Mary was like a child. She was a 14-year-old. And there's just such a long history of so many different religious groups popping up out of nowhere and making children like the chosen ones for things. And often they do this with sexual abuse and that's involved. And yeah. So when you put it into context, you see how the colonial world and colonialism has impacted the way we think, the way we treat our girls, the way we treat our boys, the way we treat our children, and the way we condition them into being something that is not in their best benefit, but it's serving something else, the god of greed, the god of money, what have you. And yeah, Marianismo is when you aspire to be this self-sacrificing saint of a mother who not only births the chosen, she's not even the chosen one, she's the one who brings the chosen person, the chosen son into the world. And when I talk about the Son, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is supposed to be femininity. That's what we as women we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be the calmness and bring the peace. And it's so frustrating because am I not here in this flesh vessel just like you? Like it makes no sense. And that like that's another thing. Like I've seen like people online saying like, oh, when you talk to me nice because my body is a portal to different dimensions. If you're a woman, your body is a portal to different dimensions and whatever. And I'm just like, dude, like, when will we just be enough? Why do I have to ward my body into something like that? Why can't I just be a body? Like, instead of just valuing what it can do, what it can bring, you know? Because there are women who can't give birth, and what, they're not worth the same? Their life isn't worth the same? No, that makes no sense. That makes completely no sense. And yeah, so when we're talking about marianismo and internalized misogyny, that's the bigger image that we're combating. We're not combating girls who say, oh, I'm so small, like, and that's why this episode is named In Defense of Pygmies, because just as all men, all males, all human males are conditioned, anyone who is conditioned as a male in this society is conditioned to be machista, to be a misogynist. They are all conditioned. That is their home setting. Just like they are conditioned to be like that, women are conditioned to be pygmies. We are conditioned to fight amongst ourselves and to seek validation of men because they are the leaders in this world. They are the chosen ones. That is what we are taught, and it is completely false. And it's very childish to think like this, and that's why I think that it is something we can leave behind, because everyone has thought these kinds of things, but not by choice, because it was implanted to us. Our space around us all signaled that, whether people didn't even have to speak it, you know what I mean? You could just tell, like, we're already like labeled when we're born. We have pink, blue, like, it's not just in our language, it's in our space, it's in the way the world is set up, the division amongst the sexes, the genders, the categorizing of everything. So I came here to talk about, and kind of like, this is my in defense of pygmies, like, hey, we were all conditioned to hate women. Everyone was conditioned to hate women. Everyone was conditioned to oppress women and see them as not enough. Our actions are constantly being policed since we're born. We're always told what to wear, how to look, how much space to take up, and how much we need to fix ourselves before even stepping outside. Because, oh my god, seeing a woman in her natural state is just the worst thing, the most disrespectful thing we could do. And men don't get treated like that. Men can just show up as themselves, and they won't be scrutinized for it. They won't be told, like, you're not showing up as your best, because they're even there. Oh my god, they even came. And you could see it. You could see this reflected anywhere. Like, you could see, like, it's always like women. I see like guys and girlies posting their boyfriends, and they're always like super done up, and they have their makeup and their thing. They're super adorned, and they put work into looking nice for the occasion. It's not just like a materialistic thing at times, though at times it can be. You're putting effort into going on a date because it's a special occasion. I like to think of it like that. And you see the guys showing up in like a jersey and jeans. And that's unfortunate. But let's talk less about men for a little bit, which is what I want to get into. Pick-me's. We're defending pick-me's today. We're defending pick-me's today because, damn it, maybe they just never had a big sister. It's not lost on me that these women are just women who have been like indoctrinized their whole lives and are taught to see other women as competition or enemies, and it's just incredibly sad. So when I think of how pygmies are created, I think that they're conditioned. We teach women to hate each other and to not show up as themselves. There's something that always needs to be fixed. It's like if you see a girl performing something or doing something, like doing a speech or singing a beautiful song or whatever, it's always like, oh yeah, she sings so good, but that hair ain't it. Oh, but did you guys see this? Like, it's like, why is that the first thing that we just start tearing each other up on that? I don't know. And what is the solution to this? Like, what is there to do? And I think one of the biggest things is to decenter men. And I think that a lot of people and a lot of women and femmes are doing a successful job at that recently. And we have to realize that men aren't the prize because they are just humans like us. But we aren't necessarily the prize either, because if we women put ourselves in a position where we're like the goddesses and all this stuff, like, yes, we as humans have we all have parts of God's in us, but it's not just reserved for someone with a uterus. It's not just reserved for someone with just a specific reproductive system. It's not. And if we keep thinking like that, then we're still in a way objectifying ourselves instead of just accepting ourselves for being human. And yeah, I don't want to be the holy goddess of whatever. Like, I'm human and I'm gonna make mistakes and it's okay, and I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna have like flaws, because I should be allowed to have flaws. Not only men should be allowed to have flaws and be passionate and yeah, it's just not it. I'm tired of that narrative. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people like talk about like, oh, I'm just too much in my masculine, I'm too much in my, and that's why I'm not attracting a man or a relationship or things like that. I'm just like, no, no, please stop. Men are not the prize because they're not objects. Women are not the prize because they are not objects. We are human. The prize is our community. Communal living is the prize, because that brings abundance, because that brings camaraderie, because that brings mutual aid, because it brings resistance, it brings liberation. That's what I want to say. I wanted to make a pairing episode to the In Defense of Edgar's with this episode, because just like I was showing grace to and understanding and sympathy to the way boys and male children are indoctrinated and conditioned and forced to assimilate, I wanted to extend the same amount of understanding and validation towards other women and femmes, especially other women and femmes. This is what this podcast is for. I just didn't know how to go about it first, because I know that a lot of people just don't want to recognize that we have that in us. But like I said, just like all males are indoctrinated into being machistas, all women, all females are indoctrinated into being Marianistas, into following Marianismo, into mimicking the practices and the life of the Virgin Mary. And what is that? That is you keeping yourself the purest. And that's not just in the sexual sense. You have to be pure in every sense. Your body must always be groomed and prepared for sex if it ever should come. If you're ever so lucky to be married off, you peasant girl. You have to be pure in your mind. You have to be innocent. You can't be saying dirty words. You can't be speaking like a man. You have to speak differently and be submissive and demure. And you cannot at all, ever be multifaceted. It can only be one thing. It can only be pure. Purely nothing. Purely an empty canvas for your husband to paint and to fill you and to form you and mold you into the person that you will be, into the perfect wife, into the perfect loyal subject. And if you guys don't know already, the reason people call women who internalize misogyny or just misogynists themselves pick-me's is because they want to act so much like the perfect girl. In our situation, this would be the Virgin Mary, and just try to replicate that as much as possible. And whoever does it the best, winner, you get picked to be a wife. You get picked to have a relationship. You get picked by a man and husband. And I don't want to put out any negative energy towards anyone who is who is a señora and who has married, loves their husband and things like that. Obviously, this is not about them. If you're in a happy, loving relationship and you, your relationship has been successful and you're happy and fulfilled and content, honestly, if you feel full, happy, and content, I don't feel like there's any reason for you to be to be mad about this, because it shouldn't resonate, it shouldn't resonate to women who have been just mistreated and used and abused and thrown away once they reached a certain age limit, once they reached whatever. And that's their ultimate goal, essentially, is to get picked and to be the prize and to be the shiny thing. And that there's so much lack of self-respect in there. But again, this is a result of years and years of indoctrination. This is years and years of generations of women who have done this before us. We're only now recently gaining our power back, re-envisioning the matriarch once again, calling back on our ancestors who were matriarchs, who were curanderas, who were priestesses, high priestesses, who were leaders, who were businesswomen. We're calling those people. And that's who we want to be like. We don't want to be the little perfect thing that gets picked, or at least I don't want that to be anyone's highest aspiration, because it shouldn't be. I think that a partnership should be something that should be guaranteed. And here's the thing, partnership can look so different. It doesn't just have to be with a romantic relationship. It doesn't. And we've been told that that's the only way we can get unconditional love. But even the love that is taught to us is so conditional. Isn't that so conditional? They tell you, oh yes, you're gonna get married, but you can't ever share your own opinion or aspire to anything else other than being a housewife ever again and a mother. Aren't you happy? Isn't this great? And it's not great. It's not great because we see all the traditional wives coming forward and showing their experiences and trying to find community once again in society. And I think that's great. But why are you so bothered, Z? Why are you so bothered by pick-me's? What's wrong? Like, if they're just like out here wanting to get picked and form a family, like, why are you so mad? Like, why are you so, like, what's going on? Because guess what, children? Guess what? Who do you think is the children? How do you think the children end up? Yeah, so that's me, right? And that's you, and that's all of us. Most of us. If you're listening to the podcast, probably. A relationship with your mom is so confusing. Mom's so confusing. Like, I don't know if that bitch... Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if that... little bitch. No, okay. I love her. I love that bitch. Like, I love my mom, but she knows she's a little feisty and a little pick-me-ish. And it has impacted me so weird in my life. It has impacted me in my life. Let me just say that. Because now I grew up with a mom placing the needs and wants of my father, of a man, of not just a man, but the males that she birthed as well. She put them above their own daughter. How do you think that makes your child feel? And not just how do you think that makes your daughter feel, how do you think that makes your son feel? Because I bet in the moment your son feels really good. I bet in the moment your son is going to feel so loved. Even more loved by their mom than their sister. Little. Mom loves me more. I'm the favorite. That's how that looks like to them. It's funny. It's silly. But to your daughter, dude, you make your daughter clean up after her brother. You're using your space to establish dominance, to establish a dynamic. With that, you establish that your son has more value than you. Your daughter does the labor and your son bears the fruit. She gets nothing from that. She gets no satisfaction from feeding her brother. She's a child. She has things to do. She needs to do her homework. She needs to read books. She needs to scroll on Tumblr and look for pictures for inspiration for her outfits. She needs to discover her style. She needs to discover what her career is going to be. She needs to discover if she even wants a traditional career. If not, she needs to discover where she wants to travel. She needs that time. And what do you guys do? What do you guys do as pick-me mothers? You are centering men over your own child. And why? It might not be your fault. It might not be your fault that you were born into a patriarchal world, a world that doesn't value you as a woman the way it should, a world that discards moms, that treats señoras like shit, dude. The world treats señoras like shit. But guess what? Señoras go home and treat their daughters like even more like shit. It's horrible. I saw a video of a little girl. She was like, she was living, I don't know if it's staged, but I don't even care. I don't even care because I know in my heart that around the world all this shit has happened, and I don't even care if it's staged or not. This little girl, she was crying. Not because I assume that she's lying, because I assume like anything that goes viral is fake. But this little girl, she was crying because her mom was making her like cook for her 20-year-old son. And the girlie was saying like that's the daughter she had with like her another husband. So it wasn't like how do you say it wasn't her, it was her half brother. It was another family. So that was the daughter of another marriage. And it's just so sad because a child is precious. And for you to use your children as pawns to appease your husband is sick. And that's my issue. That's honestly my only issue with pick-me's, because if your actions genuinely did not impact like your children or like other children that you're around or other like women who are in vulnerable positions listening to your advice, I wouldn't give a fuck. But I do give a fuck, because guess what? I give a fuck about pretty much everyone. Sorry about it. I'm just like this, and I can't. Yes, I feel anger all the time towards like this type of behavior, but I can't even lie, like I'm sure I've modeled it when I was a child. But that's the thing, I'm trying not to do that. And I made note of how like other girls around me, like once I kind of broke out of that, made note of how other girls around me were doing it. And for me, I realized that like for so many times, like girls, not just girls, but people were just jealous, because it's not just girls. I've had lots of girlfriends and boyfriends. Like girls are so jealous. Porque yo no encuentra, like, dude, like I'm not like thinking of you. Like I'm genuinely like, if I see someone who's pretty, obviously I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. I hope she's my friend. I hope she talks to me. I hope she thinks I'm pretty too. Like the fuck? I'm not gonna be like, ugh, she's prettier than me. I hope she dies. Like, where is that coming from? Or if you see a pretty girl and you think, ugh, I'm gonna kill myself. Ugh, I hate her. Oh my god, I hate you. You're so pretty, I hate you. Oh my god, I hate you. Like, what? Why do people think that it's okay to be saying that or complimenting someone like that? And again, like, I feel them. I know that it's so hard to feel loved in a world where they tell you that your place is only single. It's like a singular place that you could be at. Here's your little circle, here's your little spot. Don't get out. Stay there forever. Bye. And if I just have any advice for any girlies who maybe are like, shit, am I a pick-me? Am I doing pick-me behavior? I would just say, take time. Take time for yourself. Either be a month, 2 months, 3 months, however. Take like a little vacation for yourself. Not physically, especially in this economy, but just make for that month or months or that time, make it your job to figure out and explore yourself in every sense. As every question that you think to ask, let me see, like a potential boyfriend or a potential like partner, ask yourself that. Do you know all the answers? Do you know what you want to do in 5 years? Do you know what you want to do in 10 years? What if that first thing doesn't work out? What else would you want to do? Is there something that you would want to, that you desperately want to do, a passion that you want to, that you're suppressing maybe, but you're not chasing it because you're scared of what other girls, specifically girls, will say? Because we know that, like, I'm trying to get into like a pick-me space. Like, I feel like a lot of girls, pick-me girls, are like, ugh, well, we already know what guys are. It hurts so much more when it comes from like girls. Like, no que women supporting women. It's always the pick-me's who say that. It's always the pick-me's who say that. No que women supporting women. Like when they like, I don't know, steal someone's boyfriend and they're like, guys, I'm just a girl. Like, I'm just a girl. Or when they like throw their friends under the bus, or when they potentially put their friends in danger. I'm just a girl. Like, don't we support women's wrongs too? Like, no, bitch. If you put your community in danger, that's not. How is that high divine feminine of you? Like, what? Like, oh my god, I'm too much in my masculine. No, you're too much in your fucking bitch. You're too much in your pick me. You're too much in your hating your femininity. You're not in your divine masculine, babe. You're in your toxic masculine. There it is. You're in your toxic masculine. That's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of girlies have. I feel like the girls of today that are like girl boss feminism, white feminism, that's their internalized toxic masculinity. That's not healthy masculinity. But I digress. I think that there's hope. I genuinely think that there's hope. I think it's evident. I think that other girls need to talk to each other more, and that's what I want to do. I'm a little, as you guys know my situation, I'm not at my own house right now. I'm not in my hometown. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in Texas, and I want to go home. But I'm still appreciating my time up here in the PNW. But as soon as I get back home, I want to see what I can do. I want to be involved in the community. I want to not establish, look at me using big words, but see what kind of mutual aid I can do. I can provide. What groups I can make. I'm trying to build community. Go talk to the city managers again, because I used to do that when I would organize the protest way back when. I would be in and out of City Hall. I'd be like, yes, city manager, what the heck? What did we do here? What do I do? Do we need a permit? Do I need this? Protest? That's something really interesting. At the time, there wasn't really a lot of like regulation or like paperwork in place for marches and protests, like. And you don't need a permit. You don't need a permit to go stand somewhere and talk about it, as long as you're not blocking the road, right? But obviously, like, sometimes people want to make big marches that do stop roads, and they want to do it in a safe way. How do we go about that? At the time, I haven't kept up because mental health, and I went through a lot of stuff in my life, and I took a break from everything. I honestly I wasn't doing the best, you guys, but I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm going back into what I love to do, and which is to organize and talk to people and know their stories and tell my stories and intertwine them and make something beautiful out of it. That's what I love. And I'm not trying to limit myself. I'm trying to do it in whatever medium I can, because we're multifaceted people. Bitch, okay. Look at yourself right now. You see look at yourself in the mirror or in the wherever. Do you see how many parts of you there are? How many faces? If you were like a geometrical, there we go, shape, like, you'd have endless faces. Endless. That's why you're smooth, because you couldn't get a sharp edge. Like, a sharp edge is not going to make something this beautiful, this organic. You are beautiful. You are earth. You are fire. You're water. You're air. You're everything. You're spirit. And we are multifaceted people with so many different ways of expressing yourself. It would be crazy to think that we can only choose one thing and one thing for the rest of our lives. So if you want to be a writer, you can only be a writer. Or if you want to be a poet, you can only be a poet. Or if you want to be a whatever, I don't know, a booty tickler, you can only be a booty tickler. Like, no, you can be a booty tickler and a writer. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, like, I'm open. I'm trying to let the universe know that I'm working. I'm trying to put the best of the best out there from my mind. I'm trying to reach other Malcriadas. I'm trying to reach other girlies who want to community build with me in the valley. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. Please talk to me. And if you're not in the valley, I get it. It's fine. But I do want to do that. And yeah. So if you want to do that, let me know. You know where to find me. You guys can go on ahead to my website, malcriadathoughts.com. You'll find all the links to all my socials there. You'll find the link to the pod there. You'll find the link to, you'll see my blog, some poetry if you want to check some out. And yeah, that's where you can find all that stuff if you're interested. Oh, also, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but I'm going to repeat it anyway. There's a message Malcriada option on my about page on my website. If you want to send me a topic that you'd like to be covered, if you like to send me an anonymous story that you'd like me to go over, if you'd like some feedback on that, some advice, if you have a situation that you're like, I don't know what to do, you could send me that. If you guys want, I think it'd be fun, because it's not that I love, but it's just I can't help it, like, to think of things in very nuanced ways and find all the different sides to it to see what's the best thing we could do to move forward. And I just want to be able to spread as much healing as I can in my community, because I'm able to get I'm lucky and privileged enough to get therapy, and this therapy is not just like any other therapist that tells you to just like go and like, I don't know, like make a list of what you need to do and like don't be sad and just like, yeah, like it's by a very 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 special group of women who, and they're Latinas, who specifically talk about generational trauma, reconnecting, decolonization, liberation. So there are therapists who are doing this work. It's not just like, so I'm privileged enough to be able to get that treatment, so I want to be able to spread that to every other girly who doesn't have access to therapy, who doesn't have access to vent, who doesn't have access to have a space where she doesn't have to be judged, or he doesn't have to be judged, or they don't have to be judged. Like, this is the space for you if you don't have someone at the moment, and I want to solidify that. So yeah, guys, like, this is a community podcast. I think I said that like way before like I even knew where I was kind of going. I was just kind of going with what I was thinking in my head, what came out, and now this is a community podcast. This is all I wanted to be, and that's all it ever was. Yeah, that's all I had for you guys today. Please be kind to yourself, show compassion to yourself, even though you've done mistakes, because you can't grow. A little flower can't grow if you're beating it up, and if you're telling it that it's stupid, and you're telling it that she's never gonna learn from her mistakes, and she's not gonna grow like that. Se va a marchitar. So you have to water it. You have to talk nice to it. You have to feed it. That's how you are. You guys are the plants. You guys are the little plants, okay? Okay, Malcriadas. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Malcriada Thoughts with your host, Sadria Knives. This has been a pleasure. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up for me. I will continue to show up for you. I will try to give y'all that consistency, but I understand that if I don't, you guys know that I'm healing and I'm a human, and just thank y'all. I feel that a lot from y'all. Even though like I'm not that connected to y'all yet, it's coming. So I'm excited. All right, guys. Well, this was fun. All right. This was your host, Sadria Knives, signing